Hi, I'm Mariam from London. Please like and subscribe. I lived with my parents and my grandma on my dad's side. Grandma was a millionaire, so we lived in a mansion with a pool and even a tennis court. But Grandma was also the meanest lady on the planet, except to me. When Mom made dinner, everything tasted wrong. I've never eaten rice this overcooked. I might as well eat bleach for dinner. But one time, I made Grandma a mustard sandwich and she was blown away. Look at you, already cooking at 10 years old. My granddaughter is the smartest girl on the planet. Grandma also showered me with expensive gifts, constantly. One time, I helped Dad clean the floors, and Grandma bought me a TV for my room. Look at you doing your chores. This is what you get for being an angel, darling. Grandma scolded Mom and Dad for not spoiling me the way she did. Mariam had a fever yesterday. You two cheapskates couldn't hire a singer or a boy band to entertain her. Even though she was a jerk to everyone around her, I loved being Grandma's little gem. Whenever my parents got mad at me, I had my grandma to hide behind. What is this D on your biology test, Mariam?
Grandma, Mom's yelling at me.
How dare you put that kind of pressure on Mariam? Sweetie, you don't have to study if you don't want to. My parents really wanted me to become a doctor when I grew up. They would get me all sorts of medical toys, but all I was ever interested in was paints, clays, and brushes. I often imagined myself as a famous painter and pretended to take a veil off a painting I made. Everyone would tell me I was the next Picasso, and I'd say, "Oh, you're all too kind." One day in 9th grade, I decided to sign up for a painting class, but my dumb parents said I had to take chemistry. It's time you start taking school seriously, young lady. We've had enough of your art nonsense. That was it. I opened my mouth and started to scream. My voice should have shattered the windows. Mom and Dad covered their ears. What is the matter with you? Are you a toddler? I think I lost my hearing.
Grandma, they're being so mean to me. I don't want to take biology. I want to paint.
You two should be ashamed of yourselves. Mariam is obviously an art prodigy and should be painting as much as she wants. We'll compromise then. You will take biology class, but we'll hire a tutor to give you private art lessons. Really?
Oh, thank you so much.
I knew I was being a little bratty, but if I could take private art lessons, so be it. My art tutor turned out to be a girl from my school. Her name was Layla, and she was in the 11th grade. And I didn't mind having her for my art tutor at all. She was one of the most popular girls in school and looked like a supermodel. I'd always heard about her, but I never got to talk to her before. I'm gonna help you become one of the greatest painters. Soon, you won't even need to go to school anymore. I sure hope you're right. I didn't know you were an artist, Layla. No one ever said anything. Nobody really knows me at all, really. I think I'm only popular because of how I look, but I don't have any real friends. Layla and I spent an hour painting and talking, and Layla was right. She wasn't like most popular girls at all. In fact, she was a little weird. One time, I decided to paint my entire face green just to see what it would look like. All right then, so I guess we're done for today? Actually, I wanted to ask you something. My parents are on vacation for like 6 months, so I'm all alone in my house. Can I stay at your place? I'll help out around the house and give you triple the art lessons. Triple the art lessons? I was gonna make sure Layla could live with us. Oh, for sure. I just gotta talk to my grandma. But my parents happen to be in the same room as Grandma, and they wouldn't have it. Some stranger living in our home? Are you crazy? Might as well invite a robber to live with us. You guys are so unfair. She said she's gonna give me triple the art lessons. Grandma, tell my parents to stop being jerks. Mariam's right. You two are heartless people. Not letting a friend of Mariam's into our home. Not letting her follow her dreams. You should be ashamed of yourselves. I knew then Layla was gonna stay with us for as long as I wanted her to. But as time passed, I didn't just do art with Layla. I also talked to her for hours. Mariam, how come your grandma's such a bully? She's a bully to everyone, but not to me. Don't you worry one day she'll bully you too? No, Grandma loves me. You know, you're kinda naive, Miriam. Sort of like a kid. I am not. No, it's a good thing. I wish I was more like that. Layla said the most confusing things, but I loved every moment I spent with her. Even at school, being with Layla was an adventure. She would do the weirdest things. Miriam, come with us to the boys' bathroom. We're gonna tape anonymous love letters on the wall. Are you crazy? Why? 'Cause it'll drive them crazy. When no one was looking, Layla leaned over to me and whispered, "Consider this your most important art lesson. How to win over the boy you love. But I don't like any boys. Or maybe boys don't like you. You're too... I don't know what the word is. What's that supposed to mean? I don't know. Boys just maybe aren't into you. Like I said, you're kinda young for your age." Layla taped her anonymous love letter to the wall and left me inside the boys' bathroom. I was mad after Layla said that. I even refused to talk to her after school. Come on, Miriam, don't be so sensitive. I didn't mean anything by it. You insulted me. Maybe you are just another mean, popular girl. I'm sorry, you're right. Sometimes I say stupid things. Sometimes I think there's something wrong with me. What do you mean? Layla didn't answer. Instead, she took me to this gorgeous hiking trail to paint. I forgot all about our conversation. Layla, when will I be the world's best painter and be able to quit school? It doesn't work like that, silly. I was kidding when I said that. Maybe you'll never be a great painter. You don't think I'll ever be a great painter? I don't know, really. But did you know that you're the best student I ever had? Maybe you won't be a famous painter, but you'll be a famous something. Why was Layla always speaking in these weird riddles? And even though she was a mystery, I felt closer to Layla than I'd ever felt to anyone. Then, 10 months later, Grandma started picking on Layla one day. It was totally out of the blue at dinner time. "Dear, I assume your parents are successful painters?" No, ma'am. It's just me who likes to paint. My parents are doctors. But like I said, now they're on vacation. On vacation for almost a year. And you haven't displayed your paintings in galleries, started a business, and made something of yourself? Ma'am, I'm only 17. By the time I was 17, I was already starting my own startup. You're a freeloader is what you are. Grandma? Excuse me, but I think I'll go to my room now. I watched Layla get up from the table as her eyes filled with tears. Why was Grandma being so cruel all of a sudden? I was used to her bullying my parents, but Layla? I could barely stand it. I jumped up to follow Layla. Layla, wait! Don't take what Grandma said to heart. I told you, she can be mean sometimes. Your grandma's right, Miriam. I have to tell you something. What is it? I lied before. My parents aren't on a trip. The truth is, I'm homeless. After my parents died, I tried going to an orphanage, but they didn't take care of me, so I ran away and started stealing food and clothes. Then I got caught and got arrested. No foster parents want a girl with a criminal record. I've been living on the streets. So far, I've been able to keep it a secret at our school, but I'm worried one day they'll find out. Oh, Layla, I had no idea. Listen, if I tell Grandma about your situation, she'll understand. She always agrees with whatever I say, no matter what. But when I told Grandma Layla's story, her face turned white with anger. She looked like a statue. I want her out of my house, Miriam. I can't believe I ever agreed to let a filthy child criminal into my home. She leaves today, and I'm calling the police. Grandma, you can't do that. It wasn't her fault. I want her to stay here and teach me art. She's the bestest friend I've ever had. And for the first time ever, Grandma turned her anger on me. You don't know what you're saying, Miriam. You're just a silly child. Layla leaves my house today. Like it or not? Then something inside me burst. Grandma, I've had enough of your cruelty. You bully everyone around you, and I'm sick of it. You have no idea what Layla's gone through, and you have no idea what she means to me. Without waiting a split second, I ran back to my bedroom to find Layla, but she wasn't there. Where had she gone? All of a sudden, I saw Layla outside the window with a backpack. She was walking farther and farther away from our house. I dashed outside. Layla, where are you going? Layla just ignored me and kept walking. I ran up to her and grabbed her arm. Layla, please don't leave. You were right about Grandma. She is a bully, and I finally stood up to her. I don't care about what she wants. I care about you. Miriam, I think you better forget about me. It's for the best. What do you mean? I could never forget about you. You're not my family, Miriam. I don't have any family. Nobody loves me. I'm just your art teacher. That's all I ever was. Before I could say another word, Layla left. I tried chasing her. I never knew someone could run so fast. But after miles of sprinting, I collapsed on the ground and I burst into tears. I didn't get home until midnight. Grandma and my parents stood in the living room next to our giant, fancy fireplace. Grandma's eyes looked like they were on fire.
You spoiled, awful child, yelling at me and then vanishing out into the night? I should have you locked up in jail. Okay, let's go easy.
She made a mistake. She's still your sweet Miriam, isn't she?
She was my sweet Miriam. That was before she became friends with a dirty homeless and spoke back to me. And if she keeps painting, she'll be a dirty homeless too.
I don't care what you say, Grandma. I am going to keep painting, even if I do end up poor.
Why don't you show me a few of your paintings then,
I will. I'm really good. In my room, I grabbed every painting of mine I could find. Grandma was going to see. Here, look at how many paintings I've done. And you know what? I'm proud of them.
Wow, honey, we didn't know you did that many.
They look beautiful.
Oh, darling, let me see.
Then suddenly, Grandma tossed my paintings into our giant fireplace.
No! Mom, how could you?
I threw myself on the floor and cried harder than ever. My beautiful paintings were gone, and Layla was gone. That's it. That was the last straw.
We're moving out of your mansion. We're tired of your cruelty. That's the silliest thing I've ever heard. You can't live without my fancy riches.
But the very next week, my parents and I packed up our stuff and moved into a new place. It was smaller, and it didn't have a tennis court. And I still couldn't stop thinking about Layla and where she could be. Then one day, I found a letter taped to my window. It was signed with Layla's name. Meet me at our hiking trail. I took the very next bus to our trail and tried calling Layla's name, but there was no answer. Then suddenly, who should I see but Grandma? Grandma, what on earth are you doing here? Darling, I wrote the note taped to your window. I was afraid you wouldn't come to meet me otherwise, and I remembered this was your favorite place to come with Layla. You mean Layla isn't here? I don't want to talk to you. I want to talk to her. Sweetie, I'll do anything to help you find her. But first, I want to apologize for being so awful to you and burning your paintings. I love you, sweetheart. Grandma started to cry and came over to hug me. I've been a bully your whole life, to your parents and now to you. After I saw your face when I burned your paintings, I realized I wanted to change. I love you, Miriam. I love you too, Grandma, but it's gonna take me some time to forgive you. I understand. I don't expect you to ever forgive me, but know that I'm here, and my house is always open to you. And if you do ever find Layla again, you both can move back in with me. I'll adopt her. Grandma left at that moment, and I stood in the middle of the hiking trail. And then suddenly, I saw Layla sitting on top of a rock. Layla! But as soon as Layla saw me, she started to run up the hiking trail. I chased her as fast as I could, but she was just running and climbing higher. Please, wait up. Go away, Miriam. Layla, please, don't run away from me. I raced up the hiking trail and tried to catch up with Layla, but she was so far ahead of me, I couldn't even see her. Suddenly, I heard a loud cry from above. I looked up to see Layla stuck between two rocks. She looked like she was ready to fall. Please, someone help me. Layla, I'm here, hang on. I rushed to Layla as fast as I could and tried to pull her up, but she wouldn't budge. My hand is slipping. Do something. I grabbed Layla with all my might, and she was finally free. Layla and I fell on top of each other and started laughing. But suddenly, Layla looked at me. Miriam, you're all scratched up. It's fine, Layla, I don't care. What matters to me is that you're okay. I couldn't live without you. Really? I mean that much to you? Yes. You're the most amazing friend and teacher I've ever had. I used to be so bratty and babyish. I had my grandma to run my whole life. but you've changed me. Even though we're not related by blood, you are my family. Do you really mean that? Yes. Layla, I talked to my grandma. She apologized for everything, and she said if I ever found you, she'd adopt you. Oh, Miriam, that's the best news I've ever heard. We'll paint up here every day. I'll teach you everything. We will, even if we're never famous. I'll always keep painting with you. I love you, Layla. I love you too.